Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Monday, March 11th. We have all you need to know about criminal charges facing a Penn State student and new affordable housing options coming to State College.
We also have updates on a recent school shooting in Michigan, along with entertainment, sports, and weather. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Carlos Garcia.
And I'm Marianna Daniele. A Penn State student is facing multiple charges after being accused of selling drugs on the University Park campus. Victor Wavelet is charged with ordering drugs such as cocaine, Molly, DMT, and marijuana. He faces over 24 charges and is currently being held in Center County Prison without bail. The university has stated it will review the misconduct allegations for possible student conduct action.
Penn State's Director of Student Care and Advocacy was charged for driving while intoxicated in December of 2023. Anna Barone was charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of DUI and a summary traffic offense. The 41-year-old swayed over double yellow lines multiple times before she was pulled over in Bellefonte, where she said she was returning home from an apartment party. After failing field sobriety tests, she was taken to Mount Nittany Medical Center to draw blood, where she had a blood alcohol concentration level of .251, more than 3 times the legal limit. The spokesperson for the university said they are aware of the incident but cannot comment further.
State College is set to receive over $800,000 in federal funds for affordable housing initiatives. This boost will help construct 2 new apartment units and rehabilitate an existing home. Representative Paul Takak said the efforts are aimed to expand affordable housing options for Center County residents in need. The total project cost is over $1 million, with additional funds expected to come from county and state grants.
After more than 50 years with an affiliation to Exxon, 2 State College service stations will change their name. College Heights Exxon on North Atherton Street and Graham's Exxon on South Atherton will now become College Heights Service Station and Graham Service Center, respectively. Owners of both businesses said that their services will remain the same and they will continue full service fueling with unbranded gasoline. These changes will be implemented on April 1st. Well, higher temperatures are making their way to Happy Valley this week. Gavin Sandell with Campus Weather Service has the latest details. Take a look.
From the students of the Department of Meteorology and Atmospheric Science, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Good evening, everyone. I'm student meteorologist Gavin Sandell here with your Monday evening forecast. Taking a time-lapse view of Beaver Stadium throughout the day, we did start off pretty clear. And one thing you can't really tell in the time-lapse, though, the clouds were moving really quickly in the morning, and that is one key note to take, that we have had very high winds today. Today, right now, 46 degrees here at about 5 p.m., which is a really nice day here in State College. We do have a low dew point, which is causing our conditions to be relatively dry, but that 24-mile-an-hour wind speed out of the northwest is certainly something that we don't normally see here in State College. Taking a look at the weather headlines, the wind is really caused by an intermission. And what does that mean? It's a, break in between a high and low pressure system. We're kind of in the middle of it. And the tight pressure gradients between those 2 pressure systems can cause very high winds coming our way. That'll end tomorrow, and we'll have warmth on the backside as a high pressure will skirt its way from the south coming up north, and rain will return once that high pressure system leaves its way, and we'll have a couple of chances of rain going into the weekend. Right now, 46 degrees as we end our Monday here in State College. Warm as you head south, Harrisburg and Philadelphia. And Allentown as well are sitting in the mid to low 50s. Pittsburgh as well, you guys are sitting at 51 degrees. And that's much warmer than what we saw yesterday. 13 degrees warmer than State College. And really the entire state, well, at least above 10 degrees minus Philadelphia. But if you look at this tomorrow, if you are watching a forecast on Tuesday, this map will be like this and then some. It'll be a very high temperature swing as we go into tomorrow. Not much to look at on the radar, and that's really due to the influence that the high pressure system is making the entire country. You could see kind of the circulation in the middle Midwest, but going throughout really the eastern 2/3 of the country, there is no precipitation to worry about. A very chill day as you go into the precipitation. Wind speeds, though, we're seeing multiple locations throughout Pennsylvania into the 20s in wind speeds, which is what caused very low wind chills in our area. But as you go throughout the rest of the day, these are wind gusts. They'll start to decline as you go into Tuesday, going into the 30s, then into the 20s, and then into Wednesday morning, maybe more easily unnoticeable wind gusts, 6 miles an hour just in State College. Going into the future with the radar, as I mentioned, you're not going to see much on the precipitation. So Tuesday at 3 p.m., there isn't much to make note of. And going into the night as well, there may be some clouds will stick around. However, it will look good going into Wednesday. Thursday is when we'll have our first little grasp of a system heading in our direction. This is at 8:30 p.m. The western portions of the state will start to feel a little low pressure system centered in the Midwest at that moment. And we'll start to see the brunt of the rain coming on Friday. A little shower, more nuisance type rain. And that's really what the spring systems are. We're starting to kick ourselves into spring, astronomical spring. It's just 10 days away. And we are starting to see, more spring-like scattered showers kind of systems, especially with that warmth we're going to see this week. Heading into tonight, though, this will be our final real taste of chill, 37 degrees with much gusty conditions, 20 to 25 mile an hour gusts possible out of the northwest. For tomorrow, that's when we'll start to crank up those temperatures, 60 degrees, much warmer, and the wind will be much lower than it was today. Heading into the 7-day forecast, really the entirety of the week, Tuesday through Friday, looks great. Friday, as Penn State baseball season will open up at home. That's why I put on Medler Field. You might see some showers, though the temperatures will absolutely be none to complain about. Saturday, Sunday, into Monday, we'll start to chill out a little bit, but still a very reasonable week ahead. With that, I'm Gavin Sandell. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Antonio Fondacaro with your sports update. Penn State wrestling showcased its usual dominance at the Big Ten Championship Tournament this past weekend. The Nittany Lions roared to victory, clinching the Big Ten team title for the 8th time in program history. At 125, true freshman Braden Davis won via tech fall. At 157, sophomore Levi Haynes defended his title to become a back-to-back Big Ten champion. At 165, Mitchell Messenbrink triumphed over top-seeded Dean Hamady to secure the upset. Greg Kirkfleet won his first Big Ten title after placing 4th in the tournament. And finally, Aaron Brooks secured his 4th Big Ten championship, making him the 3rd Penn State wrestler to ever achieve this feat. And Penn State basketball secured a must-win victory on senior night, giving the blue and white key momentum for the upcoming NCAA basketball Big Ten tournament. Seniors Qudus Wahab and Ace Baldwin Jr. led the night in classic fashion, both putting up double-doubles respectively. Wahab scored 19 points and obtained 15 rebounds to end the regular season. Baldwin continues his breakout season with 17 points and 11 assists to help the Nittany Lions take the edge 85-69. Coach Rhodes and the squad need to make a special type of run in the Big Ten tournament if the Nittany Lions want to make another run in March Madness. Now a Penn State fan favorite face is making their way back to the Keystone State. Former Penn State running back Saquon Barkley is now set to join the Philadelphia Eagles. Barkley agreed to a 3-year, $37.75 million deal today, with $26 million guaranteed. He has already had 6 professional seasons with the New York Giants, where he had 35 touchdowns across his 74 games played. That's all for your sports update. After the break, Grace Eckerly has the latest in the world of entertainment. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Grace Eckerly with your entertainment update. Put away those spring break swimsuits and break out your cowboy boots, Happy Valley, because Zach Bryan is coming to town. Tomorrow night, fans will be lining up outside the Bryce Jordan Center for the Country Stars North American run of the Quittin' Time Tour. Bryan will be accompanied by the musical group The Middle East and artist Levi Turner. The tour began just last week and will run all the way through December. Speaking of tours, social media influencer turned DJ Xandra Pohl is coming to Downtown State College. She will be at the Stage West Bar on March 29th for her fittingly titled Drunk Tour. The 23-year-old UMiami graduate is best known for her TikTok platform, where she gained over 1 million followers for posting her uniquely chaotic lifestyle content and her rising DJing career. The tickets for the 21+ event are on sale now and are selling for $30. Now, a look back at a recent event in Downtown State College. Our Jackson Tartone is live in the studio with us now. More details, Jackson?
Thanks, Grace. I spent some time at the Schloss Center Region Library recently to listen to a Penn State professor talk about her literary work and her passion.
So I really love folks to expand their sense of who was a suffragist and to think about sort of different women who fought for the right to vote and ask about why they were fighting.
Those were the words of Dr. Kathleen Cahill, a Penn State professor of history, women's, and gender studies. Dr. Cahill provided a space to explore what she considers to be the underrepresented side of the women's suffrage movement, that being the angle of the women of color who were involved. The professor attracted a modest crowd of 15 to listen to her presentation of history. Dr. Cahill also provided a free insight into her newest book titled Recasting the Vote: How Women of Color Transformed the Suffrage Movement. Dr. Cahill gave an emphasis on the women of color when asked about what the main takeaways should be of her book.
Sometimes it's pretty basic, right? Questions of sex equality, but for the women that I write about, it also involved often questions of racial equality.
Despite the fact that the novel covers events of the past, Dr. Cahill believes there is still work to be done regarding the advancement of women's rights as well as the rights of people of color.
We still face barriers. The Voting Rights Act, some of its provisions, the Supreme Court recently struck down. And, you know, we've seen sort of recent ways in which the right to vote has been difficult, right? Questions around should there be universal voter registration, questions about mail-in ballots, you know, should there be a national day of voting?
The Penn State professor claims that she is working to continue awareness and action for the cause that she has so much passion for. For PSN News, I'm Jackson Tortone.
Dr. Cahill made sure to answer all questions asked by the audience and says that she will continue to spread her knowledge of women's history. Back to you, Grace.
Thanks, Jackson. Now, overseas, the Royal Palace is stirring up some controversy. Duchess of Wales Kate Middleton has been out of the public eye for the past few months, healing from what was announced as abdominal surgery. However, a recently released photo of Kate and her kids has the public worried. The media quickly noticed the image has a few quirks between Kate not wearing her wedding ring, a Photoshop error seen near her daughter's sleeve, and some parts of the photo being mysteriously blurred. Kate apologized this morning via Twitter, saying the image editing was her doing as a, quote, amateur photographer who occasionally experiments with editing, end quote. People are obviously skeptical, but whether it's fake or not, we can all agree it's a beautiful family. That's all for your entertainment update tonight. Coming up next, interview anchor Jordan Spagnoli will be speaking with Abigail Shanley, the Daily Collegian's incoming business manager. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Jordan Spagnoli, and with me tonight is Abigail Shanley, the incoming business manager for the Penn State student outlet, the Daily Collegian. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Abigail. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about, why did you want to apply and try to run to become the business manager for the Collegian?
So I joined the organization second semester my freshman year, and I just immediately fell in love. And throughout this past year, I've just fallen more in love with the organization, and I just love what we do so much. And I just thought about it, and I believe that the biggest way I can make a positive impact on the Collegian was through being the business manager.
Well, especially because I know you've kind of dabbled both in journalism and business, so kind of how did you figure out which path you were kind of hoping to take forward in those two opposites?
Yeah, no, it actually took a lot of debating. It came down to the initiatives that I wanted to do and the changes I wanted to see were just more business oriented. And I realized my thought processes and the way my brain worked was just more business oriented.
And so kind of with those business orientations, what plans are you trying to implement with this upcoming school year?
Yeah, so our funding unfortunately got cut by 100% within the past year. So definitely expanding the way we are getting our revenue, expanding our fundraising, just trying to get more money from more places.
Right, and I know there's a consortium that you guys are kind of trying to work with. How's that been going?
Good. So far, it's been good. I actually had my first meeting with the consortium in the next couple weeks, so I'm excited. And I'm excited to see where we can move from there.
And especially with this funding getting cut, there seems to be some challenges that you guys are facing. What would you say has been some of the biggest challenges that you're facing now that you're kind of stepping into this leadership role?
I think it's honestly the unknown. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't know walking in, and I still don't know. And I think this position is going to be a very big learning curve, and all of the unknown things that face me are going to be difficult at times, but I'm excited to work through them all.
And I guess kind of, stepping into that unknown, how do you feel like you've been preparing almost for that, with, I'm sure, the current business manager, you guys have been talking a lot, but just how are you preparing for this big jump that you're taking?
Yeah, I've been speaking with as many people that know more than me as I can. So all of our graduating directors, our current business manager, our general manager. I'm just trying to absorb as much knowledge from those people as I can before I fully take over.
And I guess the elephant in the room with you being a rising junior, how do you feel like that's maybe affected you in regards to, usually you see seniors in this role?
Yeah, I honestly think it's an advantage. I come in knowing a lot less than people a year ahead of me would, which almost makes me more pliable and easier to learn and adapt and grow. And even after I finish this position, I'll still be around to help the next business manager too.
And I think that's a really good aspect that you bring up there is you're going to have a whole other year after you're done being the business manager. How do you think that dynamic's going to go?
I think, well, it depends on how the next year goes, but I'm sure I'm probably just going to want to relax after a hectic year.
Right, especially being in a role that important.
Yeah.
And how do you know that you will succeed? Like, how do you know you're going to succeed? How will you know that you have succeeded in this role? What are kind of like those benchmarks that you're trying to chase?
Yeah, I think honestly it's not something that I'll see within the next year or the next couple years. I think it'll be if I can come back in 20 years with my family and show them the Collegian still being here and still thriving, I'll know that I helped put the Collegian in that place, at least just a little bit.
Well, and I think that's a really interesting aspect to take is a lot of the times when you think about these leadership positions, you think about what can I change now? What are those changes that you're hoping you can implement now that'll maybe not result so quickly, but really have an effect on the future for the Collegian?
Yeah, that honestly was like my whole platform going into this is I honestly just want to put the Collegian in the best place possible to move forward and advance. Because media is in a precarious situation. After COVID and with all of the distrust, it's not necessarily the industry that it used to be. So having to adapt and move on to different things is incredibly important. So just putting the Collegian in the place where it can easily change and easily move to something else.
And I guess trying to pick your brain a little bit more about some of those adaptations you're working towards, what do you think is going to be some of those bigger stepping stones that's really going to help you thrive in that growing and ever-changing field?
Yeah, honestly, some of those changes are still a little hush-hush right now, so I can't discuss all of them with you. There's a lot of people I need to work with before I can officially move with those steps as I would like to.
And I guess, speaking with people you're trying to work with, how important do you think it is? I know you're probably going to have to start picking your team, building who you want to support you. How's that process been looking like? And I guess, how do you think that's going to help you moving into this position?
Yeah, I've been looking for people that are motivative, creative, and just have their own ideas that they're willing to work on. Like, I want to be surrounded with a team of people that are just as passionate about the Collegian as I am. And I think it's honestly quite easy. You can easily look around and see the people that are there and who really care. So it's not at all as hard as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and I guess another kind of follow-up on that, trying to build up this next generation of leadership. Are you maybe hoping that within your team that you're building, maybe finding a couple people who would be interested in taking over next year and really trying to teach them kind of how to prop them up and take on that role?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a goal that I have. I mean, that would further create a bigger impact that I could make, and I think that that would be really cool. And just by including as many directors and my vice president in as many decisions as possible, giving them all the information that'll help get them prepared for whatever future roles that they have.
Absolutely. I think that team aspect is really going to help you guys really grow the Collegian in multiple ways. But Abigail, thank you so much for coming in tonight and telling us more about your experience with the Collegian and your future plans for the outlet. Now, stick around because coming up next, Marianna and Carlos will have the latest news from across the nation.
A tragic helicopter crash occurred mid-afternoon Friday near Rio Grande City. It took the lives of 2 National Guard soldiers and a Border Patrol agent. Another soldier was injured and is currently in critical condition. The cause of this crash is under investigation. The Starr County Sheriff's Office is assisting at the crash site, with federal officials expected to investigate further.
The bodies of 4 people were discovered inside a Texas home that was engulfed by flames on Friday. Firefighters were called that morning to put out the fire, but the fire was so intense that firefighters focused on protecting neighboring homes upon arrival. Firefighters were able to put out the flames, where they discovered the victims, whose names have not yet been released. It is believed that the bodies were of a family that lived in the home.
In Houston, a federal judge has upheld a Biden administration program allowing 30,000 migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela into the U.S. The monthly allowance is on humanitarian grounds. The decision dismisses a challenge from Texas and 20 other Republican-led states. The program has admitted over 357,000 people so far. The White House praised the ruling, noting the program's role in reducing illegal border crossings and filling labor shortages. An appeal by the states is expected.
The father of a Michigan school shooter told police that a gun and ammunition used by his son had been hidden at the family's home. James Crumbly is on trial for involuntary manslaughter in his 15-year-old son Ethan's killing of 4 students at Oxford High School. The 47-year-old is accused of failing to secure the gun at home and ignoring signs of his son's mental distress. Prosecutors say a cable lock was given to James when he purchased the 9mm with his son just 4 days earlier. There was a meeting at the school a few hours ahead of the shooting in which both parents had met with the staff after their son turned in an assignment with a drawing of guns and a wounded person. Well, that concludes our show tonight at PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.